Hello everyone, welcome to the mysterious case that I to you. I also thinks the royal life is desirable, but is that the truth? Today's story is about a beautiful girl. Name is Manohara. When I was 15
She
years
became
old, the most beautiful princess of Malaysia. But this girl's life, it's not like in the story fairy. On the contrary, every night she suffered pain like hell. This true story is dark. It even came close to an international dispute. And before we start, I look forward to giving you the video. Like and subscribe to the channel. More spirit for us. Thank you very much. Manohara's mother Daisy is Indonesian. She was married to a native named Ed, and then remarried to an American named Jock Mans. On 28 years a ripe 92, Daisy and Jock welcomed their daughter in Jakarta. That's Manohara. With an Indonesian mother and an American father. This girl has two bloodlines and two nationalities. From an early age, Manohara had a delicate and striking appearance. More than any of you? However, when Manohara was 2 years old, your parents' marriage is broken. The father left and there has been no news since. Mom Grandma Daisy. He then married again to a German man. It's called Rainer Pino. And gave birth to another girl, Dewey. Since then, Manohara also bears his stepfather's Pino surname. Due to the stepfather's work, the Manohara family is constantly moving around. They spent 2 years in Hong Kong and half a year in Romania, and then set foot on your Swiss shirt, and eventually settled in France. Until 2006, after Manohara's grandfather died, her mother decided to bring her daughter back to Indonesia. From a young age, Daisy has noticed special potential in Manohara. She doesn't just have strict dietary controls, but also invest heavily in the arts to train style for girls. Any event of the elite. She tried to get Manohara to attend, give you a chance to meet, and get to know a lot of powerful people. When he was 10 years old, you were so beautiful. I'm fluent in many languages like Indonesian, English to French. With a bountiful exterior, you fast. He quickly stepped into the modeling village and immediately attracted attention. In Indonesia, Manohara becomes a famous face. She has appeared on the covers of many fashion magazines. When he was 12 years old, she gets Harper's Bazaar voted as one of the top 100 Indonesian models. December 2006, at the age of 14, Manohara received an invitation from Najib. He was then Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia, to attend a dinner party held in Kuala Lumpur. It's full of high-profile people in politics and business. This can be considered one of the most brilliant of Manohara's modeling career, but also at the same time a fateful turning point in her life. At the third Prince Party of Kelantan State, Paris, immediately attracted by the perfect beauty of this girl, he was captivated by her beauty at first sight and quickly fall in love. Malaysia has a total of 9 states. Kelantan is one of the states with a successor monarchy. The Emir, also known as Sultan, in these states will take turns as the King of Malaysia in a 5-year term. Faris was the third son of the 28th Sultan Kelantan. He was 28 years old, twice as old as Manohara. It is far from the prince, boy in fairy tale. Faris has a rather crude appearance. Hair is sparse and often looks greasy. At the party, he showed grace. But there's actually a bit of play. The bad habits of a rich man, like laziness, loose. Women's passion is fully concentrated in him. It's rumored that the number of women who've been to Paris, it can go up to hundreds, even thousands. But with Manohara, it doesn't make sense. I had almost no particular impression of this man. I just feel like he's kind of quiet and polite. The only thing that gets your attention, he was willing to help her carry her bag. A very gentleman's act. Then the two exchanged phone numbers, but Manohara gave him his mother's number. For you, this relationship is purely social. There's nothing special. If the prince goes to Indonesia, he can call Ro for dinner with some friends. If you go to Malaysia, they can meet in the same way. But Faris doesn't think so, and confirmed that this is not. The next day, this man kept coming. Manohara at the hotel where she is living. He says he wants to marry you, and you're sure there's no way to say no. Even Paris said all the invitations had been sent out. The venue is also ready. If Manohara refuses, the royal family will be in a very difficult situation. Before this compulsion, Manohara resolutely zero. To convince you, Ferris promised to just finish the wedding. You can go back to Indonesia and carry on with life as before. But no matter what he says, Manohara also does not accept. After many rejections, Ferris, taking advantage at midnight, tried to break down the Manohara room door and force her. Seriously offended, Manohara immediately recounted the incident and said she'd call the police. Suddenly, her mother intervened. She advised them that they were in Malaysia. It's not easy to sue a prince, even if their denunciations could be countered by the royal family. Instead of confrontation, she thought it was better for Manohara to marry him. Manohara didn't know he was going to fall into the abyss. The one who pushed me down was my mother. It turns out that Paris investigated and discovered Manohara's mother, Daisy's, in debt. Understand this weakness. He immediately settled out of debt, and the price in return is that he has to get Manohara. Manohara is only 16 years old. Under the age of marriage under Malaysian law. There is no legal document from the Indonesian embassy, but it's not that difficult for someone like Paris. After a series of special procedures that he gave people arrangement, their wedding is still held solemnly on August 26th. 16-year-old girl Manohara, in innocence and not understanding everything, officially Princess of Malaysia. Manohara's wedding caused a stir, and she was quickly dubbed the most beautiful princess Malaysia. But right after the wedding, the pink dreams she'd ever thought of immediately fell apart. Manohara once said that even entering the royal family, you can continue to develop your career as a model, but in fact, you've completely lost your freedom. Right on the wedding night, Ferris tore off the fake mask. He comes in and curses you and calls you a money addict. She said that a woman like you could find her anywhere. Ferris humiliates her. She doesn't deserve to be a princess. She even claimed she only deserved to sleep on the floor. Since then, Manohara's life enters a real nightmare. During the day, she must keep a wry smile with her husband in events to create an image of a happy princess. But when we get to the palace, you're facing mental and physical abuse. Ferris didn't treat you with respect. He often insults you. Compare yourself to a luxury car. It's just flashy, but it has no real value. He claims he can replace you at any time. And what's even scarier, Paris also forced doctors to give Manohara a solution of unknown origin. After the injection, she couldn't move or talk. But I can still hear, smell, and feel everything. You're well aware of what's going on. Feel the physical pain, but can't resist or call for help. Meanwhile, Manohara could see the delighted gaze of Paris. He is not in a hurry to hurt you. I like to prolong the pain, as if that's what he's really interested in. The days and months. That makes the Manohara feel like he's not even the same as the animal. You have no one to call for help. By everyone in the royal family, you all know what you suffer, but no one cares and helps. In their eyes are wives, that Manohara, responsible for pleasing her husband and producing offspring. You don't have any right to protest. Living in fear and worrying every day. You can only sleep at 4 in the morning for fear of being injected or drugged. To maintain the happy image of the previous princess, Ferris regular injection hormone for Manohara made her gain 15 kilograms in just 2 months. The purpose of this is to create illusions that you're having a fulfilling married life. Despite being tortured, Manohara tried to keep the evidence. She hid her phone under the sink and secretly take pictures of the wounds on the body. We've seen this phone become an important tool to help her escape later. In February 2009, Manohara fled to Singapore to return to Indonesia. Paris tried to hold on like nothing. He then bought a luxury car as a birthday present and invited Manohara and her family on pilgrimage to Mecca. However, after the pilgrimage ended on February 26, forces Manohara to leave Saudi Arabia, leaving her mother and sister at BKK Airport. After the Manohara mother incident, Mrs. Daisy, they claim this was a royal abduction. We call on the Indonesian government. Go out to find a girl. By the end of April 2009, perhaps out of pity for her daughter, Daisy decided to hold a press conference to reveal the dark truth about Paris' wife abuse. She also claimed that the Malaysian government, "She stopped me from coming in to see you." Some in the royal family out of pity revealed, Ferris doesn't treat Manohara like a wife. He always insults and tortures you. When land information is transmitted, the Indonesian public is outraged. Many people took to the streets to bring the Manohara back to the country. At the Malaysian embassy in Jakarta, There's even been violent protests. However, the governments of the two countries
This is just a private
matter between the couple and don't want to interfere. It wasn't until May 2009 that Manohara had a chance to escape. The father of Paris. He had heart disease and had to go to Singapore
The
for
third day
treatment.
of May,
Manohara went with the royal to their escort. She received a secret message from Daisy and Manohara's sister. Fly to Singapore and find the hotel where you live. When they arrived in Ferris, they were surrounded by 4 years of bodyguards. I saw Daisy's mother. His face immediately changed and immediately notify for close monitoring Manohara as she tries to leave the hotel. The guards stopped her on the 3rd floor. An Indonesian who happened to be in the hotel came up and told Daisy they saw the Manohara on the 3rd floor but were not allowed to come down. Then an emergency alarm sounds from the elevator. Daisy and her sister Manohara ran up to the 3rd floor where they saw her crying bitterly. That I'm with the bodyguard in the elevator. She held down the alarm, and when she saw her mother screaming, "Mom, never let me leave you again." The Singapore police and the US Embassy quickly responded. The talks lasted from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. At first, Paris refused to release Manohara, but his lawyer warned him if he kept her, he could be in legal trouble. Only then did he reluctantly agree. With the support of the American Embassy, Manohara with her mother and sister to the airport boarded the flight back to Indonesia safely. Back to Jakarta. During the press conference, Manohara has personally confirmed all the allegations. Was right. She claimed during her time in the Malaysian royal family, she's constantly being physically and mentally abused. She also said the Malaysian royal family is fully aware of this. After so much physical and emotional damage, Manohara must suffer. She said she never go back to that country again. Next, Manohara conducts a series of health tests. She said she sent a test report. Lawyer to conduct divorce proceedings with Paris. The 6th of October 2009, she gives 16 photos to Roy Suryo. In there, 10 clear images that have been analyzed by forensic experts. There are many wounds on your body. Cuts, burns, bruises. On the chest, her back and thighs were also marked by injection burns. However, the most surprising thing is that Faris was the first to sue. He accused Manohara of defaming the Kelantan royal family and asked her to pay 10 cents 5 million equivalent to more than 60 billion Vietnamese dong for 7 At the same time, he asked Manohara's mother to pay the debt he paid you before. Faris declared he will surely use the law to cleanse his honor. Must say that the mother of Manohara, Daisy, is also a calculating person, and we know very well the power of the Malaysian royal family. At the same time, I know how I voluntarily married my daughter. So when you see the tension, she quickly stepped back and started playing the role of mediator. She advised her daughter to drop the lawsuit. However, Daisy also claimed they were prepared to face all the consequences, ignoring the court's decision, including losing the rights of the Manohara that it's from the Carlton family, as well as not intending to repay the debt that Faris demanded. The two fathers of Manohara to stand on opposite sides. Daisy told Indonesian media, Manohara's stepfather lives in Jakarta and support her in the meantime, according to some sources. Her biological father Jock Mans is on the side of Paris. Men write letters to Paris even though they've never met, to express trust that the prince could take good care of his daughter, help her escape her mother's influence. He said he would ask the US State Department to citing Manohara's US citizenship to bring you back from Indonesia. In the letter, Mans also attached our daughter's first American birth certificate and screening. This shows that he is extremely unhappy with Daisy. He said that when Manohara was 2 years old, my ex-wife took me away, leaving him to live in misery and eventually essay into drinking. Mans claim that Daisy never tells the truth, ready to do anything for money, and there's always a tendency to seduce men. He also mentioned a strange thing. When taking Daisy to the dentist, he detected X-ray images. It shows you've got a little metal in your chin. This is a form of Indonesian folk charm. It's been implanted by witches that many believe can help women maintain beauty and charm. When the Manohara case became the international spotlight press, she also discovered dark corners of her mother's and father's past. Before going to France, Daisy adopted a 14-year-old girl named Salaiha from a small town on the island of South Sulawesi. Daisy's family is distantly related to her, and she promised she'd take Salaiha abroad to study. But on the contrary, Saliha has been a servant in Daisy's family for 15 years. April 2007, at the age of 25, she denounced Daisy and her husband to the French police, accusing them of violent behavior, abuse and coercion. Saliha confessed that Daisy had treated her well, but then her husband, Rainer Pino, began to show particular interest. When violated, she went to Daisy for help, but she didn't help, but also engaged in acts of torture. She also reveals that Daisy is a professional liar. They borrow money from others and don't pay it back. The couple were eventually sentenced in France. Rainer Pino sentenced to 4 months in prison and Daisy 18 months, but she fled to Indonesia. There is no extradition treaty between the two countries. She's not serving a sentence in Indonesia. However, up to this point, Daisy is still wanted in France. When she was accused, Daisy reacted angrily. She claims that it's all made up by Saliha. She said she'd never treated the Saliha like a servant. On the contrary, it takes you to many places. Daisy explained that she had intended to send Saliha to school, France, but she didn't go to school. Daisy revealed more in March 2007 after 6 months in Indonesia. She returned to France and saw her intimacy with Saliha. She said she was shocked because she always treated her like her own child. After what happened, they left their homes in shame and shame. Before she went, she cut her hair and left a letter. I told Daisy not to look for me and even wrote that, "Tell your family that you're dead." But what Daisy didn't expect was just a month later, in April 2007, she's got a warrant from the local court. Russia in France. Even if you have a mother full of scandal, Manohara does not let the past engulf him. After leaving the Malaysian royal family, it took you a while to recover, but then I went back to my modeling career. Not only that, she even moved into acting and quickly regained its reputation outside of work in the entertainment industry. Manohara also founded his own publishing house, actively participating in humanitarian and relief activities. You're even running for Congress, with commitments to environmental protection. 2020, Manohara openly converted to Christianity. In a country where the majority of the population is Muslim, like this Indonesia, decision has become a remarkable event. It puts you once again at the center of the media. However, Manohara remains steadfast in his choice. She continued to fight for women's rights, help those who are hurt. Manohara's life is like a fairy tale. It's real, but it's not a fairy tale for the prince. You proved that leaving the prince, by his own power, you can still have a colorful and happy life. Looking back on the painful past, Manohara said tenaciously, "I believe that everything happens for a reason. What I've been through in the past, it made me who I am today." The story of Manohara is a lesson. We know about resilience and mastery of life. You've proven that no one can decide fate except you. Despite being deprived of freedom, betrayal and violence, she stood up and turned her pain into strength. We can't choose where we are born, but you can choose how you live. If life throws you into adversity, let's make it a motivation to rise, because there are only warriors. You can find true freedom. And that's today's story. Do you have any thoughts? Please comment below. Thank you. Hi. See you later.